I'm Tanisha Arena, and you're listening to Unapologetic. I feel like I just did this. Oh, wait, I did. I'm going to start with Georgia. Came through, right? Because that's what Black people do in this country. We are always saving. Stacey Abrams and all the rest of the Black and brown organizers that put their feet to the street and pulled it through because we understood the importance of what was at stake. Now, before we could hoorah and celebrate, you know what happened. So let's talk about that. First, why aren't there fired cops? Why? At the nation's capital, not our state capital, but the nation's capital, where the House and the Senate were in session. The president was down the street, the vice president was somewhere, but there were literally no reinforcements to ensure the safety of our democratic process. Unheard of. Where are they? Why aren't they plastered on TV? They have failed to do their jobs. That's one. But let's talk about this. First, I'm going to hit you with this quote from Neely Fuller Jr. If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. And if you're sitting with this in your brain, you probably are confused because we said, well, where are the bullets and where's the tear gas and where's this and why hasn't anybody been arrested? And I said, why aren't the cops fired? Because that's not what white supremacy calls for. In this country, there is a distinct linking with policing and patriotism and Black bodies and this destruction, and white people are never seen as the villains, as the threats. And let's also talk about the media and representation and language. These were not protesters, they're terrorists. There's a big difference between protesting and showing up at the Capitol building of your country to basically overthrow the government, which, by the way, is part of the definition of treason. For those of you who don't know, the crime of betraying one's country by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. I don't know about you, but that's what I saw on my TV. So we need to change this language. Protesting is one thing. Terrorism is quite another. For the folks that were in their place of work, because the House and the Senate, they were at work. And literally folks busted up into their jobs and terrorized them. Terrorist. In your mind, you might have a vision of what a terrorist looks like. And I'm trying to tell you, the FBI has tried to tell us the biggest threat in this country is the angry white man. That is your terrorist. That is your thug. That is your looter. Because I did see the guy with the podium. Did you see him? He was looting. Terrorist. That's what we're dealing with. Not a protester that wasn't a patriot. Because a patriot also knows you question your government. That's your responsibility as a patriot. When you show up to terrorize people, to browbeat them, to doing what you want them to do, that's violence. And that's also the historical pushback when Black and brown people rise up for the equity that we deserve. We don't even know who was in that crowd. We're assuming that it was all the Trump supporters, but what if it was the Russian operatives or anybody from another country who wants to take us down? Because on the outside looking in, what's our biggest weakness? It's not intelligence. It's the ignorance about the color of our skin. So who am I going to send in? The person that's never seen as a threat, because Blackness is the weapon. That's why we know with absolute certainty, because this isn't even up for debate, if the Trump supporters look like me, first of all, there would be some carnage. They wouldn't have made it that far. There would be no busted windows. There would be some dead people, some people in jail. There would have been the SWAT team. Everybody would have been in mass. And we know this because when the Black Lives Matter protesters were going to be at the Lincoln Memorial, we know y'all got tanks and guns and everything. Just for angry people, Black people who have things to be angry about, to hold up some signs to say that our lives matter. That's just too much to take in our white supremacist society with these ideologies and things that exist, which the next thing, this is not who we are. Okay. What I'm going to need you to do right now is to tell the truth. This is who we are. We live in a country that was founded on the abusive values of colonization, the takeover, the savagery. You have what I want. Oh, I'm going to get it. That's where we come from. That is who we are. And history has shown us that on repeat. So if we are ever going to have unity, we need to start telling the truth and stop with this, oh, if we could just come together and we need to get on the same page like we once were. We never were. There's always been a distinction. The Civil War didn't end. They just called it something different because this country was founded on the iniquities about white people and these Black bodies that did free labor. That's who we are. That's the capitalist roots of us. That is the colonizer roots of us. That is the violent roots of us. And if we're going to tell the truth, then we can get to this place of healing that everybody wants to talk about.